How are you feeling? How long have you been here?
3 months, May 17th.
And what brought you?
That's difficult to answer.
Eventually resulted in your being here in the hospital.
That's difficult to answer.
this the end? There's a noise inside my head of crying people facing death. Is this the end? Is this the end? I'm burning in the there's no place to hide. I'm burning in the this is the final time. What have we done to the world? What have we done to the world? I'm burning in the there's no place to hide. I'm burning in the this is the final sweet dreams are made of these. Who am I to disagree? Travel the world and the seven seas. Everybody's looking for something. Some of them want to use you. Some of them want to get used by you. Some of them want to use you. Some of them want to be out you.
Who the fuck is Karlyn? She's just some sweet lady. She's like in a knitting. She does like a knitting stream. She's like a knitting YouTuber. She does knitting.
What's up, everyone? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? Why is my microphone volume always lower now? I feel like StreamYard has really been messing with my microphone volume lately. Oh, yep, there it is. There it is. There it is. There it is. That is the problem. I feel like I've been downloading my streams lately and I'm like, why is your microphone volume so low? Because it sounds normal to me. No, StreamYard has been messing with it. You guys got to tell me when that's happening because I can't hear it. It sounds literally no different to me. And then I get the recording and I'm like, why is my microphone volume so low? StreamYard was just automatically doing it. You know, thanks, StreamYard. Thanks. Whatever. You know, we figured it out. Whatever. Hey, tomorrow is Leonard's birthday. Leonard has been a longtime member of the channel. Everyone wish Leonard a happy birthday. Leonard, are you a Virgo just like my husband? Of course he is. Happy birthday, Leonard. We appreciate you. Thank you for hanging around the channel. Guys, we've got I think it's going to be an interesting stream today. I'm not exactly sure what to make of it, to be honest about it. So, I saw this video pop up on my recommendations. Socialism is a religious cult and that's a good thing. And the title is Forming a Socialist Cult, Forming a Socialist Strategy. And when I saw that, I was like, Is this another dumb conservative making another dumb conservative video where they're like, socialism is trying to be the God in your life because they hate Christians? No, that's not what it is. That's not what it is. This is an actual socialist. Hey, Elena! It's good to see you. Elena has just gifted 5 memberships to the channel. Let's see. Elena gifted herself a membership. Very, very generous there, Elena. I think that's always a good idea. Alexis got one. Pilgrim Progressing got one. KH got one. And DW got one. Congratulations to everyone who got a channel membership. By the way, if you just got a channel membership, let's just talk about this. If you just got a channel membership, you are welcome to join us for Spy Stream tonight. So guys, we are a little bit on a timetable tonight. We're on a schedule because round about 6:30, I'm going to be ending this stream and we're going to be going into a supporter exclusive spy stream. Now, spy streams are when we go inside a live leftist training and we literally watch it live. We don't know what they're going to say. We don't know what they're going to do. We don't know what they're going to talk about, but we watch it live happen, unfold right in front of us. Tonight, there is a Democratic Socialists of America organizing call. We'll be going into that live starting around 6:45 p.m. tonight. And this is open to members of my Substack, members of my Patreon, members of my locals, YouTube channel members, and Twitter subscribers. So if you just got a YouTube channel membership, you can find the spy stream information in the community tab or the post tab, whatever they're calling that now. If you are a member on another platform, you can find the link information there. It has all been sent out. If you're not yet a supporter, I highly recommend you join my Substack. That is Karlyn, KARLYN.substack.com. And when you join the Substack, go ahead and click on the announcement for the spy stream. And what you want to do is scroll down, and for all paid supporters underneath this red box, you will find the link to tonight's spy stream. So you can come and join us live, and I think it's going to be a great call, and I think it's going to be really interesting to watch. The DSA is obviously hyper relevant right now. They are the largest technically socialist group in America. They're reformist socialists, so they're not revolutionary socialists. We don't cover them that much, but we're starting to cover them more and more and more just because the DSA, especially in New York City, has built an extremely robust organizing platform. And I personally think we're going to start seeing a lot more DSA candidates elected to local office in the coming years because listen, man, the DSA is taking this seriously. The DSA is not screwing around. And if people are laughing at the DSA or trying to own the libs or do this stupid stuff that conservatives do, just watch what happens because you're about to have a Democratic Socialist mayor of New York City. This was a completely preventable problem, by the way, had the Republicans actually tried to do anything, but they didn't. They just forfeited the playing field. And so the DSA was able to swoop in. They had a massive organizing apparatus. They have over 30,000 active volunteers in New York City. We've gone inside their meetings. We've heard them talk about what they're doing. There is no comparison. The DSA right now, and this is a sad state of affairs, guys, the DSA has the most effective organizing platform in the country right now. Not the Democratic Party. They're not the Democrats. They hate the Democrats. Certainly not the Republican Party. The most organized, the most active, the most determined, the most consistent political organization in the United States today is the DSA. They're consistently raising money. They're consistently running candidates for local office. They're winning a fair amount of city council seats. And people might think, oh, it's just in blue areas. That'll never happen to me. All right, well, you want to take your chances? I guess go ahead. Continue to stick your head in the sand, conservatives. It's done wonders for you already. You know, the left just owns every major institution in America because conservatives refuse to get off their ass and do anything. But hey, don't say I didn't try to warn you. So we are going to be doing a spy stream tonight, so if you want to get signed up for that, there's plenty of time to do so on this stream, and we will be watching another video until that point. I'll talk about that video in a second, and I just want to remind people, too, if you're looking for the dates on spy streams, if you want to be able to plan ahead to know when we're going to be doing a spy stream, obviously I can't tell you exactly what we're doing, but you can head over to decodetheleft.com, click on the events tab, and you will be able to get an idea of how many spy streams we've got coming up. And guess what, guys? We have a lot of spy streams coming up. There's going to be a lot of these things because college is coming back into session. You know, the left kind of took the month of August off. They weren't really as active as normal. There is a lot of organizing coming up, though. There might even be a spy stream this weekend. There might even be a full socialism conference this weekend. I don't have confirmation on that yet, but I'm working on it. So it's like there's just a shit ton of stuff coming up. So if you've been waiting to become a member of my Substack because you're like, maybe you don't feel like I provide you enough content, even though I create more anti-communism content than anyone on the internet, if you've been waiting, now is the time, because when you become a member of my Substack, you're going to be able to get access to all of these supporter exclusive spy streams as well. And the reason we are on the cutting edge when it comes to the left, the reason I know what the left is doing before literally anyone else doing commentary in this space, is that I actually just go to their meetings and I listen. I know it's an absurd concept to just go to their meetings and listen to them, but that's literally exactly what I do. And then I end up being ahead of everyone else, and my community ends up being ahead of everyone else, because literally no one else is just sitting and listening to what the left is saying other than us, which is absurd, but such as it is. So you can find that over on the Substack. Now, before we get into the call today, I just gotta say, for those who caught the stream last night with Isaiah Carter, who really is no one that anyone should know, but the only reason that he's even like remotely relevant in this sphere is because he's friends with James Lindsay and yada yada, he sucks James's cock and all this stuff, whatever. I just wanted to do an update on the stream I did last night, because Isaiah posted a 10-minute rant about me, calling me all sorts of names, spewing all sorts of nonsense last night, and of course we reacted to it live at 1:30 in the morning, as one does. But I just wanted to show you guys just a couple follow-up items from this. So if you look in the comments on Isaiah's video, let's see. Oh, look, there's Josh Slocum of the Disaffected Podcast. As a reminder, Josh Slocum of the Disaffected Podcast, the day my dog died. The day my dog that I had raised from a puppy died. See, I'm going to tear up just talking about this. Josh Slocum saw fit to go all over the internet and tell people that I wasn't really upset about my dog dying because I was a narcissist, and proceeded to harass me by saying they were making AI action figures of people at that time, and Josh Slocum said maybe people should include a dead dog in the action figure they were making out of me. So Josh Slocum is such a garbage piece of human being. I can't even call him a human being. He's a walking piece of human garbage. Like, literally harasses me over my dog dying. Can you imagine anything so low? And by the way, Josh Slocum thinks he's an expert on narcissism. Has anyone looked at Josh Slocum's Twitter profile lately? You know. Can I ask how many others people were embarrassed for Isaiah's rant? Well, listen, I was embarrassed for Isaiah's rant, but even if we go back into the comments, look at this. Look at this. People from the community were commenting on Isaiah's video. Hello, Isaiah. Do you remember me? I trolled your chat, but I love talking about God and the higher path. Look, dude, we're on a mission. This has nothing to do with borderline psychopathy. We want James to admit Karlyn is right, and he is. See, this is all I'm talking about. This is the type of commitment that I appreciate from members of my community. Also, don't insult my cult leader again. I love it. I love it. Yasmin's in there. Where's your probation officer, you baby daddy? You need to stop eating, you baby daddy black man. Grow some hair, baby. I mean, Yasmin's always precocious. You know, you got to keep an eye on her. And then this person, I don't even know who this is. No offense. This fat boy calling Karlyn a land whale is hilarious. You're so fat, your blood type is sugar. I can smell your sweat, diabetic sweat through the monitor. Have you ever even seen your cock? Maybe put down the bucket of chicken and get on the treadmill. You're a disgrace. So those are just some of the reactions to Isaiah's video. But Isaiah tried so hard. You got to give... Oh, that's you, Simona? Okay. Thank you. I appreciate your service. But you got to give Isaiah credit because he's trying so hard. He's trying so hard. And I saw this on my YouTube homepage today because we watched that video last night. He actually posted his 10-minute rant to Twitter. And in the last to YouTube. So Isaiah, in addition to posting this 10-minute rant on Twitter, also posted the 10-minute rant to his YouTube channel just to show that he's a very serious content creator. And that video has gotten 11 views in 8 hours. Congrats, Isaiah. Congrats. Really great work there. Really, really great content. But I also wanted to just, some of my community members saw the thumbnail that Isaiah used on the YouTube video. And I was going to say they decided to make some improvements. I know it might be a little bit hard to tell who is James Lindsay and who is Isaiah Carter on this thumbnail here, but you can make your best guesses about that. Of course, my community is very, very creative, and so we do love our arts and crafts here. And then I woke up this morning and Isaiah's posting about me again, because this is what happens when I irrevocably break someone. This is what happens. What happens is they lose their mind about me and they never stop talking about me ever again. So just as an update, Isaiah posted a whole nother rant about me on Twitter this morning. Let's just read it because this is funny. Good morning, family. Karlyn Borysenko is a racist, narcissist, pestilence that should be considered no less of a psychotic grifter like Candace Owens. He wrote an essay. I did not think any black man could write this much. I'm kidding. They're a very smart black men. I'm kidding. Just not Isaiah. He's fucking stupid. But I'm kidding. Yeah, he's trying to insinuate that I'm a bot and that we're all bots, apparently. That's it's so anytime so their first argument anytime people support me in comments or in a chat or something, their first reaction is they're all secretly Karlyn in disguise, so they tell people that I create all these accounts and that you guys are really me. And then when that doesn't work, he goes to Karlyn is paying bots or something like that. It's like, bruh. The only way she can farm engagement these days is by picking fights with serious people, then going full wounded bird with the whole "see, I was right all along." Well, of course I was right all along. When she gets the desired reaction, Isaiah, you are the one continuing to yell about me on the internet for several days after the fact, bro. Obviously, this experience was much more meaningful to you than it was for me. All narcissist and dark triad types are the same. They follow the exact same pattern of behavior in varying forms of degeneracy they can get away with. What makes Karlyn Borysenko unique, however, is she isn't one of those narcs who eventually goes away after enough gray rocking. Nah, she's quite persistent at getting any response she can. Again, I explained this last night. The whole idea of gray rocking is they're not supposed to talk to me. They're not supposed to talk to me. They're not supposed to talk about me. They're not supposed to give me any attention. I keep begging these psychos on the internet, please fucking gray rock me. Please do it. Please just do it. Please just stop talking about me. Please just stop talking to me. Please stop making posts about me. Please stop doing videos about me. Please stop spreading smear campaigns about me. Please stop doxing people that are in my life. Please actually gray rock me. Can you guys have been talking about gray rocking me for 5 fucking years. Can you please actually just start gray rocking me? Because that means you're not supposed to do this. If you actually think I'm a real narcissist, the only solution you guys have is to actually gray rock me and actually stop fucking talking about me. If you believe your own bullshit, which is you are so committed to the idea that I'm a narcissist, you're literally giving me what you think I want with this post. So why the fuck are you talking about me? At her core, Karlyn really wants to be regarded as a serious thought leader. No, Isaiah. No, I don't. I want to be regarded as an underground cult leader. Could I not be more clear? I called my show The Cult. I told all of you guys to fuck off years ago. I have literally created a community completely independently from your bullshit influencer media apparatus because I saw through it back in 2020. I have, for years, been doing my own thing with my own people, with a very high IQ community who is lucky to have disposable income that they can use to support my content independently. So I don't, rely really on YouTube views or Twitter shares or being on some bullshit influencer show who is beneath me, quite frankly, because there's no one on the internet that knows more about this than I do. And Isaiah, unlike you, I actually do trust in God. You wear that giant ass cross around your neck, but unlike you, I do actually trust in God, knowing that if I put out my best work, the right people are going to find my content, and I don't need to kiss any of your asses in order to make that happen. And I've been successful at this for years. Where the fuck were you back in 2020, bro? You just showed up a couple years ago and said, I'm a black man that left the left. Pay me money. Pay me money. Hey, thanks, Pete. Thank you. A little something to support your upcoming clandestine operation. Hey, I do appreciate that. However, like every other narcissist, she lacks the will and self-confidence to be anything more than a grifter and a manipulator, because above all else, narcissists are lazy. I'm lazy. I'm lazy. I'm lazy. Hang on. I'm so lazy, Isaiah. I'm so lazy that I have written 4 books already this year. I wrote A Brief History of Racism. I wrote Debunking the Communist Manifesto. I wrote The Communist Manifesto, A Revolutionary Fairy Tale. I wrote Alice in Queerland. I'm currently working on this Queer Marxism book along with a companion piece about the Mary Narney gang. I'm also currently working on this re-education book. I'm also currently working on a woke dictionary and a whole dictionary on decodetheleft.com where we're going to have clips and evidence categorized by category so people can go in and find clips and evidence to support every definition of the left that you guys don't even fucking know about. How many books have you written so far this year, Isaiah? How many books has James Lindsay written so far this year? Is it possible that I've actually written more books this year by myself than all you guys put together? And in addition to that, Isaiah, I am so fucking lazy that I stream 6 days a week, almost always covering content from the far left, showing people what's going on. I'm so fucking lazy, Isaiah, that I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spy streams already scheduled for this month. Actually, there's a 7th and an 8th spy stream that's not even on there. There's also an undercover trip that's going to happen this month that you guys don't fucking know about because you don't pay attention. I am so fucking lazy that I create more anti-communist content than literally anyone on the internet, teaching hundreds of thousands of people every single month about what the far left is doing. Yeah, Isaiah, I'm real lazy. And that's why thousands of people support my work. And that is why you are screaming and ranting on the internet, Isaiah, to 11 fucking people. This is the brain trust that is James Lindsay's audience. In closing, stop taking this bitch seriously while I'm shaking in my boots. I'm shaking in my boots, black man. Black boy, maybe I should say. I'm shaking in my boots, boy! I'm shaking in my boots that people are going to listen to you, who no one knows who you are, no one knows your credentials, you've never exposed nothing, you've never done independent journalism, you've never done undercover journalism, you don't even know what the left's definition of capitalism is, bro. I'll take my chances. Enjoy your Tuesday, let's make it a great day. And then in his brilliance, what he shows is him saying, I know I will fuck Karlyn, and me saying, no, I decline, I would never let a black man fuck me. He sure showed me, y'all. He sure showed me. He sure showed me. So if you want to tell Isaiah to go fuck himself, you can head over to my Substack. That is Karlyn, KARLYN.substack.com. Sign up for $8 a month, $80 a year. You will support independent journalism and research and analysis covering the far left in America. I will show you things that no one else on the internet is showing you. I will take you inside live events and show you what the left is planning and what the left is doing in real time. And all these dumb bitches can continue to cry and cry and cry and cry and cry with their good God-fearing cross around their neck because they wish they could do what I do. They wish they could do what I do. But they're not smart enough, they're not motivated enough, and they can't pull it off, so that's why they cry on the internet. Thanks, Isaiah, for that little piece of entertainment. We appreciate it. We are going to be getting into our video now, guys. We'll get through as much of this video as we can. This video is on a YouTube channel that I have seen before. I've heard of this guy before. I do know that this guy publishes socialist books. Like, he has a whole socialist book publishing company called Sublation Media. And I have thought about watching this guy before, but there is just something about this guy. I don't know. There is just something about this guy that I kind of feel like he's not a real socialist. That's just my gut. I could be wrong. Maybe we'll find out that I'm wrong. But I kind of feel like he's like the Revcoms. The Revcoms are a weird socialist group, not to be confused with the Revolutionary Communists of America. They're two completely different groups. The Revcoms are this weird little cultish socialist group that you see their flyers a lot at like socialist events and in their bookstores. They do a lot of content on the internet. I have never thought that they're actually real socialist activists that are relevant on the left, though, because they're very cult-like and weird. And it's just like no one on the left talks about them. No one on the left really takes them seriously. They're not at any of the major protests, not really. The only time we see them showing up is like flyers and pamphlets being hung out, like handed out, and they do some stuff on social media, but they've always struck me as very cult-like, and that's why I don't cover them. This guy kind of strikes me as the same thing, if I'm honest about it, which is why I have not covered him before, but you wave a little carrot in front of me, like a video that says, socialism is a religious cult and that's a good thing, I have to take a look. And so I think that we are going to find out today whether or not this guy is a real socialist, and I think it'll be entertaining for us. And we will be watching this video for about an hour, maybe an hour and 10 minutes before we have to end this stream to go into our spy stream. So let's just dig right in. Guys, please do mount the like button if you would be so kind. Please make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Let's see what this video is all about. No Patreon, no Patreon, no.
We would say it's because capitalism was
Come on, YouTube, come on.
realizing things that artists felt the need to establish a realist movement.
Right. And I'm right. And I'm
You know?
I'm starting from that position that there
Right.
is. This is actually, the return to realism was a response to the fucking Twitter files, right? It was
Oh,
a
yeah.
response to the way the state was derealizing
Yep.
our understanding. All right, welcome to the Control Zone again. I'm Douglas Lane. I am the author of Pick Your Battle, a book that was self-published back in 2011
Yeah.
or 12 or so.
That's a real good point.
So
I don't think real socialists would ever play the national anthem. That's a really good point, average person.
Zizekian observations, and with me today is everyone's favorite track coach, contrarian, the last Marxist and master strategist, resident genius, Chris Catrone. Chris,
Hi, Doug.
hey. So we're going to talk about you as a master strategist, and we're going to talk about the campaign for a socialist party, but I want to do it from the perspective of someone who's just trying to figure out what anyone who wants to be a socialist might have to do if they wanted to create the foundation for independent socialist politics. And
Right.
that's really the question.
It is. It is.
So, I mean, I guess my first question for you is, what do you see as the primary problem for would-be socialists today that organizing might overcome?
Well, I think that there are a lot of presuppositions that people get as leftists, as progressives, as what have you, as members of a kind of alternative, bohemian kind of social and cultural space, as people educated in academia, by academic leftists. So really, there's a lot that has to be unlearned, or there's a different kind of contact with reality that has to take place. Or another way that I've been thinking about it the last couple of years is people have to be disciplined in a different way.
That's another good point. He's got an Obama doll. This looks like that's a Hillary Clinton. These are not real socialists. I'm calling it right now. There is no universe. There is no universe in which these are real socialists. We're going to listen to them, and we're going to listen to them talk about this cult idea that they have, and that's fine. But there is no universe in which real socialists are going to have a fucking doll of Hillary Clinton. Never mind Obama. Obama's bad enough, but Hillary Clinton? No.
Right, so they have to be disciplined by, actual practice and social reality. Not really go down the rabbit hole of theoretical casuistry. Because I think that theory really is a profound dead end. I think in terms of my own education, I don't think that Adorno would have made sense to me if I hadn't already been a Marxist and already had a sense of the relationship between Marxism and social political reality. I think if I didn't have a strong sense of that, including like academic study of like history of movements and parties in various parts of the world, I studied revolution. I studied revolutionary parties, revolutionary movements, organizations. That's what my undergraduate study was about as a poli-sci major. And as a student of like people like Iqbal Ahmad and informal student, but still a student of Adolf Reed, like, political science, political, philosophy, political theory type people who thought about like nuts and bolts of political movements and organizations and parties and, revolutionary processes taking over the state, in Cuba or Korea or...
Hang on. Breaking news. Breaking news. I love Trump. Trump is the best ever. Trump is the best president in the history of presidents. Trump, I love Trump so much. I'm gonna get this up on my main screen. You guys are gonna see how much I fucking love Trump. I have never loved a president so much in my entire life as I love Donald Trump right now. I take back every bad thing. I take back every single bad thing I have ever said about Trump. I just need my Twitter to load so I can actually show you guys this. This is breaking news. Trump has just done the most amazing thing that he has ever done, ever in his life. Trump is expanding the no tax on tips to cover streamers and online creators. Digital content creators produce and publish on digital platforms original entertainment and personality-driven content such as live streams, short-form videos, or podcasts. We're back. We're back. We're back. We're so back. I love you, Trump. I love you. Yes. Now every single cent that you guys send me, well, I don't know, up to a certain amount probably. Every single cent you guys send me via super chats will not be taxed. Every single time you guys sign up for my Substack will not be taxed. Yo, Trump. I'm never gonna say anything bad about you again, Trump. We're back. We're back. I'm sure there's probably a catch somewhere. I'm sure there's a catch, and we'll find out about that catch later. But can we just enjoy this moment all together where I don't have to pay taxes on any of this? Can we just all enjoy this moment? Please? Please? It's so great. It's so beautiful. It's winning. Epic Trump win. Epic. Thank you, Trump. I appreciate you. I love you. Thank you. All right, back to this. That's so exciting. Yeah, everyone should send me a super chat in honor of Trump getting rid of taxes on tips. For me. Everyone should send me a tax-free super chat right now. That'd be pretty great.
China or Soviet Union.
Simona, the vast majority of my revenue falls under that bracket. The vast majority of my revenue comes via things that are now considered no tax on tips. Yes. This absolutely makes a difference.
I studied the South African movement. Cool. I studied Iran, the Islamic Revolution. I did really thorough study of these things, as well as being an activist.
Yeah, taxes.
And getting advice on activism from people who are serious. So, I kind of feel like if I didn't have that, I don't know what Adorno would mean to me. It would be some nonsense.
Yeah.
It would be some like random literary preferences. It would be some, I don't know, some weird philosophical sensibility. I was actually thinking recently about, one of the editors of the Columbia University Press series that publishes Frankfurt School stuff, right? I was on a panel with her, a platypus panel, and literally she said at a certain point, she said, Chris, you're trying to make Benjamin and Adorno say things, whereas they didn't think that you can say things the way you're trying to make them say things. And I was like, wait, they are saying things, and they're not saying you can't say anything. That would be like Derrida, and that wouldn't even be Derrida, actually. That would be some caricature of Derrida. But she is literally a gatekeeper of academic publishing on the Frankfurt School.
Thank you, Trent.
She's full tenured, named chair professor who is like, resistant to the idea that Adorno had anything to say, definitely, but also that it was Marxism. She hated that. She was like, Chris, you're trying to make them into Marxists. They weren't Marxists. And I was like, if they're not Marxists, they're nothing.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
And I really had a sense of what that
victory.
meant. But, so we come into it, this world of the left. I'm an academic and I teach critical theory, but we come into it really backwards. And like I said, I don't know what these ideas would mean if I didn't have a sense of reality. So the first task of would-be socialists, it's the Socialist Unity article. I start out a little tongue-in-cheek preaching to the socialist intelligentsia. It's like, but are you really socialists? Or is socialism just a sort of a pose or an affect? Like what is your socialism? Again, Zoran Mamdani is, maybe going to be mayor of New York, and he's basically someone who is a socialist culturally, but not really intellectually, and certainly not politically, right? And so
Zoran Mamdani is only a socialist culturally, but not intellectually or politically. Oh, tell us more. Hey, thanks, average person from Simona. Thank you. In honor of Simona, I appreciate that.
What does it mean to be a socialist? People have been avoiding that for a long time. That's the bad legacy of the 60s, is the left became a subculture. Or it's what Adolf Fried called posing as politics.
The aim of the campaign is to learn from local efforts to participate in civil society organizing around a variety of issues, tenant organizing, helping with helping the immigrant community protect themselves from the police or from ICE. It can be just social activity. There was recently an interview published at the Sublation Substack with someone who was doing drawing circles regularly just in their community. There's a variety of just civil society or just everyday social activity.
Tutoring.
A variety of things that people are doing. After Occupy Wall Street fell apart as an occupation in parks around the country, this was the move they tried to make, and I recall it.
Yep.
And I recall feeling that at the time it was actually a way to obscure the defeat of Occupy Wall Street, that they were not continuing Occupy Wall Street in a different form, but they were retreating into regular basic like Democratic Party or other forms of already.
It's so beautiful. It's so fucking beautiful. I'm just the no tax on tips thing is confirmed, by the way, because the White House posted about this. And by the way, there's a fuck ton of things that qualify for this no tax on tip thing. The White House just posted literally a whole thread of like all the different jobs and professions that are going to qualify for no tax on tips, and you guys should look at it and just see if you qualify, even like as a side hustle. Like it's like everything. it's like tattoo artists are getting it. That's pretty fucking cool. Like I mean, people who do pet care are getting it. People who do home maintenance are getting it. People who do hotel, like work at hotels, obviously. So it's not just like people who are waiting tables. There are actually a metric fuck ton of jobs that are going to qualify for this no tax on tips thing. I don't give a fuck. Do not rain on my parade. Do not rain on my parade. You're going to be like, well, this doesn't, you only get $25,000 tax free. That's still $25,000 tax free, motherfucker. Do not rain on my parade. That's $25,000 more tax free than I had 15 minutes ago. Yup, pet care. Yup, all sorts of stuff. Yes. Oh, this is so fucking beautiful. Oh my God.
Existing leftist activism. And I talked to someone who was involved with that around that time, maybe a year later. We got real drunk at the local bar, and like I got so drunk that I saw trouble in that meeting. But anyhow,
In Portland.
Well, yeah, in Portland, just down the street. But anyhow, while I was still sober enough to remember what we were talking about, he described how they moved from being, a protest movement and a quasi-occupation challenging capitalism directly, symbolically, which is what it was, to doing sit-down strikes and providing legal support for people who were being evicted from their homes around the
Right.
crisis.
Oh yeah, anti-eviction. Yeah.
And how that became absorbed, how that got absorbed basically in the already existing network of progressive legal assistance programs and other kinds of already existing institutions. And that what they could do is they could organize protests and try to get media involvement for individuals. But it really atomized Occupy
So
Wall Street.
let me say something about this. So there have been sort of two moves like this. So one, Occupy, first of all, was dominated by anarchists. It was. It was like David
true.
Graeber style anarchism. It was like the spokes council structure, right, from Madagascar, right?
And when he
From
says
his-
anarchist, just so people know, when he says anarchist, he means anarcho-communist, not anarcho-capitalist. Those are two different things. We don't care about anarcho-capitalists. Anarcho-capitalists are basically libertarians. They just want they don't want the government to exist, but they want private property rights maintained. Anarcho-communists are communists. They're just communists. A lot like queer Marxists are anarcho-communists. And so we're worried about the commie part, not necessarily the anarchist part.
Ethnographic research into primitive communism or whatnot. And there was that move, and I think that hampered them. In other words, having an anarchist ideology hampered their ability to be more than an adjunct of the Democratic Party. And I know that that's going to offend people who are anarchists, but sorry, in other words, you are default Democrats. And similarly, DSA also has tried to do activism, but again, it's base building for the Democrats, right? So the idea is that the Democrats lack an adequate base, and there's class de-alignment, right? There isn't realignment, like they refuse to believe that the working class is really voting for Trump, but there's rather de-alignment of the Democrats from the working class. Okay. Now, in between those two, there was the Marxist Center and there was the Philly Socialists. And they have a slightly different history going back to the anti-war movement and going back to the new SDS and that kind of thing. But that also hasn't really gone anywhere. And I think that the problem, therefore, is means and ends and, what goal we're building towards, like what the actual goal is. And that's why, I formulated the way I did as socialist unity, meaning, okay, socialism, like it's socialism. And so it's not like, oh, we're going to be like the liberal NGOs, except subpar. It's like, no, okay, we want to know the landscape, so we'll work with the liberal NGOs. We'll apprentice, we'll train from them. Like here with Arise, Jorge Mujica's organization in Chicago, it's already existing. Latino community, immigrant rights, immigrant workers' rights kind of center, and he's a communist from Mexico, right? He's a member of the Morena Party, who is the sort of pop front communist party in Mexico, and is the ruling party in Mexico, and where he likes to say it's the largest leftist organization in the United States because of the number of Mexicans in the United States who are also members of that party. It's kind of a cute idea, but they're obviously ghettoized. And it is some kind of liberal NGO, and he has run against established Democrats for alderman here in Chicago, mostly as a protest candidate. I don't know that he really wanted to be alderman, but and so he's one step removed from the Democrats, but also he has to deal with the Democrats because they control Chicago. So fine, we're going to be trained in this kind of activity by them, and in so doing, and in doing the activity, and taking it outside of the Latino community into other communities, other immigrant communities, and out of the city into the suburbs, and doing it in other cities, whereas he's Chicago-based, his organization is Chicago-based, we're going to learn about social reality. We're going to train ourselves. The first task is to train ourselves. Are we going to accomplish anything in terms of stopping deportations? Maybe, maybe not, but that's not the goal. The goal is to train ourselves. So we're not just helping the people, or we're not doing social activity like providing like services or something. We are, but the main goal is to train ourselves. And train ourselves in terms of organizing and activism, but also learn about social political reality, because political reality does interface with social reality. And look, young people, they have no experience of this whatsoever. None. And so just some basic experience. And just keeping in mind that the goal is, as I put it in the meeting, we had a campaign for the Socialist Party meeting, and I said, what are we actually doing? We are building an army. We're building an army. And, keeping that in mind, we're training ourselves as an army, and an army takes all kinds. An army has secretaries, nurses, it has, stock clerks. It has all kinds of people involved. In other words, an army is not just soldiers, frontline soldiers. It's not. It's a whole apparatus. We're building an army. And, look, the capitalist parties know that they're armies. And there are other movements. So in the meeting, I said it's like Hamas, or it's like Hezbollah. I said the army of God. That's what Hezbollah means in Lebanon. And we are an army of God, and our God is socialism. But it's an army. And just understanding that. And how do you start an army? Well, we're learning that.
Oh.
How do you go?
Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. I'm hit in the face with a quandary. I'm hit in the face with a quandary. I know this guy isn't a real socialist. I know that. However, this guy just said on camera that that Hamas is an army of God, and that socialists are worshiping like their own religion. And so in order to be responsible, I feel like I need to clip this. But just so you know, like, again, and I want to be very, very, very serious about this. This guy's got crazy eyes. That's one of the things we're serious about. But you should not mistake this for what normal and the most prominent leftist activists think, because this is not something we have ever heard from prominent leftist activists. You have to understand that right now I am playing the internet game for clicks, and I don't really, like, this guy's a fake socialist. I don't really care about clipping him out of context. I feel no protective, I don't feel like I'm violating any intellectual bounds. He's a socialist at the end of the day. We need to clip him out of context to make him go viral on the internet, is what I'm saying, because a clip like this will actually go viral on the internet. It'll get all the Jewish fee it'll get all the conservative fifis. We have to clip this, right? Like, and I know it's not representative of real socialism. I understand that. I really do. But most of these people are just not open to hearing this anyway. And most of the people who are going to respond to this clip are people who we just simply can't teach because they're stupid. And so we're going to clip this out of context. I convinced myself to do it. And we're just going to, make him go viral on the internet.
Armies, and there are other movements. So in the meeting, I said it's like Hamas or it's like Hezbollah. I said the army of God. That's what Hezbollah means in Lebanon, and we are an army of God, and our God is socialism. But it's an army, and just understanding that. And how do you start an army? Well, we're learning that. How do you go
you guys
from?
Are saying it's choppy on the stream. Am I choppy? Or is it the video that's choppy? I need everyone to be specific, and if you aren't specific, I'm going to ignore you and not try to address your comment because there's feedback all the time, and it was Hezbollah, not Hamas, but whatever. Okay. No, okay, yes is not an answer. Yes is not an answer. I'm asking you to use your words. Is it... Okay, both me and the video. All right, I don't know why that is. Okay. Let me try, I guess, a different Wi-Fi network. Hang on. Hang on. Because again, this is not choppy on my end at all in any way. So it could be a StreamYard thing. It could be on my end. We're going to try another internet. It's trying to connect. It doesn't seem to be. Hang on. I'm trying to get this to connect to the internet, and it doesn't want to do it for some reason. There might be something going on with the internet in my neighborhood then. Let's hope not. Why the fuck isn't this connecting? It's so fucking weird. All right, well, I'm going to make this clip. We'll wait for that to connect. Give me 1 second to, oh shit. That's not what I wanted at all. Not what I wanted. Did I actually save that? No, we got to go back and do the clip again. Gotta go, because it's working on my end, so we're going to go back and do the clip again. Oh, I'm still fucking recording. That's why. I was still fucking recording the clip. That's why. That's why. Let's see. Why haven't you connected to the other Wi-Fi yet, computer? Okay, now it looks better. It may be StreamYard, guys, and if it's StreamYard, I just can't do anything about it. All right, let me just reload StreamYard. All right, I'm back. Hang on. Yes, so Trump, they just announced it. I'm telling Victor about the no tax on tips thing, which is pretty fucking great. Okay, now are we better? I reloaded StreamYard. Now are we better? Are we better? Is it still? Yeah, it was StreamYard. It was StreamYard. Weren't me. It was StreamYard. Okay, let me just play this.
And just keeping in mind that the goal is, as I put it in the meeting, we had a campaign for the Socialist Party meeting, and I said, what are we actually doing? We are building an army. We're building an army. And, keeping that in mind, we're training ourselves as an army, and an army takes all kinds. An army has secretaries, nurses, it has, stock clerks, It has all kinds of people involved. In other words, an army is not just
Okay, now I'm getting people saying it's still glitchy. So which is it? Is it glitchy or is it not glitchy? And if any of you answer yes, I'm going to just ban you, okay? I need you to use your words. Yes, it is still glitchy, or no, it is not glitchy. Okay. Waiting. Okay. Well, I can't do anything about this. It is not glitchy on my end, so I don't know what is going on. Is it the video or is it me? All right. All right. April, you don't fucking know that. You actually don't know that because the problem is probably StreamYard, actually. So, okay, you're saying my video? Okay. All right. Well, I guess stream over then. I guess stream over because I don't know how to fix this problem. The problem does not exist on my end. The problem is on StreamYard's end. We've been through this shit before. So, I don't know how to fix this problem. So, I guess stream over. And hopefully the problem is fixed when we come back for Spy Stream. Can you guys manage this, or is it unmanageable? I need you to use your words and explain the problem. Can you manage it, or is it unmanageable? Okay.
soldiers, frontline soldiers. It's not. It's a whole apparatus. We are building an army. And, look, the capitalist parties know that they're armies. And there are other movements. So in the meeting, I said it's like Hamas or it's like Hezbollah. I said the army of God. That's what Hezbollah means.
I'm going back. I'm clipping this again. I'm clipping this whole thing. This whole clip was fucking gold. That whole fucking clip was gold. I don't think I realized how gold that clip was. We need to start with he's an army. Or we're building an army.
And train ourselves in terms of organizing and activism, but also
I think I need to go back a little bit more. Maybe not. Where was that? Where was that? Okay, it's right around here. Right around here. Hang on. Here it is. Found it. Okay.
social and political reality, because political reality does interface with social reality. And look, young people, they have no experience of this whatsoever. None. And so just some basic experience. And just keeping in mind that the goal is, as I put it in the meeting, we had a campaign for the Socialist Party meeting, and I said, what are we actually doing? We are building an army. We're building an army. And, keeping that in mind, we're training ourselves as an army. An army takes all kinds. An army has secretaries, nurses, it has, stock clerks, it has all kinds of people involved. In other words, an army is not just soldiers, frontline soldiers. It's not. It's a whole apparatus. We are building an army. And, look, the capitalist parties know that they're armies. And there are other movements. So in the meeting, I, said it's like Hamas or it's like Hezbollah. I said the army of God. That's what Hezbollah means in Lebanon. And we are an army of God, and our God is socialism. but it's an army. And just understanding that, and how do you start an army? Well, we're learning that. How do you go from Che Guevara and some friends to building an army that overthrows a state? Right? But we're not going to do but that's what we're doing.
Yeah, this helps me understand, and it should help everyone watching this understand.
I'm sorry, what? Again, I don't actually think this guy's a real socialist. I really don't. He's got I mean, he obviously is on some level, but it's just like he's got some weird ideas, and I don't understand why he has a Hillary Clinton thing in his office. But you know what? If this guy wants to talk about how socialists are building an army of God to overthrow the state, which by the state he means the capitalist state, you know what? I'll take it. Who the fuck is this guy? Is he some academic? Please let him work for a college. Please let this guy work for a college. Please, 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 please. I'll never say anything bad again if you just let this guy work for a college. Hang on, I'm just editing the clip. Who the fuck is this? Chris Catrone. Who is Chris Catrone? We don't know. Okay, let's look him up real quick. Let's look him up. Who the fuck is Chris Catrone? My computer doesn't want to work now. Great. Okay, cool. Copy. Chris Catrone. He calls himself the last Marxist. Oh, the School of Art Institute of Chicago. Thank you. Thank you. Adjunct professor at the School of Art Institute in Chicago. Brilliant, 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 brilliant. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Thank you, Chris. We appreciate you, Chris. We're going to get that clip out, Chris. It's going to be great. What courses does he teach? Hang on. What courses does he teach at the School Institute of Art of Chicago, whatever the fuck? Oh, he teaches psychoanalysis and Freud. He teaches Marx and Marxism. He's a professor of Marxism. Pop culture theory, Adorno cultural industry. Wow. He teaches a lot of courses, bro. Survey of modern to contemporary art and architecture. Okay. All right. Well. Okay. Yeah, he's resting Lindsay face. He does a little bit. All right. Well, we've already got our golden nugget of the presentation. I kind of feel like we really don't need to watch more, but we will. We will. Let's see.
And just why it's important to keep sublation in the campaign.
Hang on. Another StreamYard glitch. StreamYard does this weird thing sometimes where it opens just like other things on my browser. It's not supposed
in
to.
your mind.
Okay.
Because sublation is not building an army. That is not what sublation is doing at all. In fact, I want to have enough distance as a good bourgeois liberal type, journalist, writer, artist type. I want to have enough distance to be able to fucking report on your army and what's going, I don't really trust armies that much. That's my instinct is not to really love armies.
Right.
Of
course.
But I also want to report on the prospects for and the necessity of the development of socialism.
Right.
And if it takes an army, I'm not going to stand in the way because of some squeamishness or something either, right? But that's not what sublation is about.
Yeah, the analogy to an army is limited in the sense that a movement, right? So obviously an army, that's not politically sufficient, nor is it socially.
Who the fuck? Guys, we have a retard on our channel today. Guys, breaking news, we have a retard in the chat, guys. We have a retard in the chat. Let's see their channel history. Let's see their channel history. Oh, wow. Our retarded person in the chat here joined YouTube 17 hours ago. This is a brand new account that has never chatted in on this channel before, that all of a sudden is telling me I should be ashamed for misleading my audience for clipping a video, presenting one adjunct's ramblings as it is represented. Retard, how much research did you do into me before you decided to wait 5 minutes to chat in on my channel? Is this 500-pound fat-ass Jill? Oh, wait. Upside down now. Changed their picture. Isn't that funny? Jill. Waited 5 whole minutes to subscribe just to tell me I should be ashamed for clipping a video. Oh, yep. Willy Wonka has no idea how many of these we've watched, Jill. You have no idea. How many clips do we have of socialists saying they're going to overthrow the state? How many? We got the Denver Communists saying it. We got the Seattle Revolutionary Socialists saying it. We had the Revolutionary Communists of America saying it. How many clips have we found over the years of socialists literally saying they're overthrowing the state? And none of the socialists that we found saying it have any affiliation with this guy. He's just another in a nice long list of clips that we have. So I'm very sorry, retard. I'm very sorry, retard. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about, and you're probably a 500-pound fat-ass stalker, so you're banned now. Goodbye.
No, you're not building a militia, which is all you could do.
Right. Well, I mean, the point of the matter is that there were communist guerrilla armies that took state power in Korea, Vietnam, Cuba, China, and Yugoslavia. I was just reading about Tito and Tito's break with Stalin. And you know what he did when he broke with Stalin? He arrested thousands of Stalinists and imprisoned and tortured and executed them. And that's how he wasn't a Stalinist, Doug.
Right?
It's like, no,
I know. I mean, like, I know that is, and we should take that seriously. He wasn't a Stalinist. He was arresting and torturing and killing the Stalinists.
The Stalinists, right? But to my mind, of course, that's what makes him a Stalinist. And it also, to my mind, shows the limitations of the guerrilla road to power. Right. Meaning you don't want to be a partisan army that takes power, because then your state is going to be basically a constant military operation.
Yeah.
And so there's a limit to the analogy, because it is an analogy. And so, I think I said at the meeting, Jesus didn't start an army, but Peter and Paul did. Mm-hmm. And Muhammad definitely did.
Oh, there are two different accounts.
The Buddha, maybe not. I mean, he was a warrior prince to begin with. So,
two different accounts.
But
wow.
And so, because I was saying that, I was bringing up the point that we are, a socialist movement is going to be misperceived as either a gang or a church, and that's why I use those analogies. Mm-hmm. Because by their opponents, it will be seen as a racket, as a gang, as an illegitimate business. And as a protection racket, for the working class. And it will be seen as a church. It will be seen as a church of the working class. This is what the anti-socialists saw the socialists as back in the day. They were like, "Oh, that's the church of the working class."
I'm sorry. We need to preempt this this viewing, and I have something else I want to watch. I'm sorry. This is my fault. I know we want to watch this. I really do. I get it. But can you guys just humor me? Here, I'm going to reload. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to reload StreamYard again. I'm going to see if that makes the issue even better. And then once StreamYard is reloaded, we're going to watch something else that's going to be really entertaining. Okay, I'm back. Hopefully that makes it even better. I reloaded last time, it made it better. But you guys are going to love this. Hang on. The reason I'm doing this is we really do have about 15 minutes left before I need to go, so we can start setting up Spy Stream. And so we can watch more of that cult thing. I think we've already got a pretty great clip from it, to be honest. But Milo Yiannopoulos posted a clip of James Lindsay on a podcast apparently talking about losing 85% of his income. Can we watch it? Can we watch it? Can we watch it? It's 14 minutes long. It's 14. Is it better? Excellent. So the stream, this is a sign, guys, so we're going in the right direction. I want to watch this clip. And I want to listen to James complain about losing all his work. And then you know what? Now that my work apparently is like no taxes on tips. Well, actually, that's not even true. Like I'm gonna make more than enough like to meet the threshold for the no taxes on tips thing. But like, man, can we just do this? Yeah, let's just watch this. Let's just watch it. Oh, hang on. I just set up the sound. Hang on. Let's just bask in James's tears.
You mentioned that there was a concerted effort to cancel you. Can you share with us a little bit more what happened and how that came about?
Sure. I mean, I'll just preface this by saying, like, I'm not a stranger to controversy, and I'm not a stranger to leftist, fury. I'm actually not only familiar with how, cancellation attempts.
James's lips are not lining up with his words on my end. That's actually on my end. Hang on.
There was a concerted effort to cancel you.
I think this is just the video. The video, again, this is not my fault. This is just the video. The audio is slightly off from the video, which is weird, but we're still going to do it anyway.
Just a little bit more what happened and how that came about.
Sure. I mean, I'll just preface this by saying, like, I'm not a stranger to controversy, and I'm not a stranger to leftist, fury. I'm actually not only familiar with how, cancellation attempts and struggle sessions and things have proceeded through the entire, identity politics crazy era that we've all lived through. I'm one of the people who's led the discussion on bringing those terms to bear on our experience. I, spent the better part of one of the last few years talking almost entirely about struggle sessions, researching, the psychological conditions of the Maoist regime, and then relaying what it is to survive a struggle session, to be subjected to one. And cancellation is just a kind of close cousin to the struggle session environment. So I preface all that to say that there's such a thing as saying something dumb on the internet and getting blowback. And then there's something else that's very recognizably different, which is this kind of grotesque, over-the-top swarm behavior, mass-scale attack. It has very little interest in the truth. It's got a narrative about the target that it drives. It doesn't matter how you defend yourself.
So exactly what I was put through when I was the target of a 2-year harassment campaign by your friends and you, James. So exactly what you assholes did to me for literally years is what you're describing now being done to you. That kind of sounds like karma to me, but okay, continue about how sorry your life is.
Everything you say to defend yourself makes the situation worse. There's no attempt to try to understand what was being said. There's only the kind of anger, the attempt to punish rather than to correct or to understand. There are lots of these signature features of a struggle session or a cancel attempt. So what happened, it's really dumb to talk about. What happened is really dumb. President Trump, this was before the election, I had decided not to talk about this issue of the radical right, thinking the election might be somewhat existential, until after the election. Let's not cause any trouble. But what I started to notice was that the right was getting really ornery through September and August of last year, and was starting to activate in the direction to where it was getting harder and harder for me to restrain wanting to say something. Like, there's a problem here. And what I see is this movement, which is a very small sub-movement, but a very motivated sub-movement of MAGA more broadly, is now mobilizing to take advantage of whatever happens in the election. If Kamala wins, they're talking Civil War rhetoric all the time. I can see them pushing very easily into that kind of narrative, into that space. And then if Trump wins, obviously they're going to want to take advantage to fill his transition team with their own guys and to fill his administration with their guys and to place as many of them as they possibly can. So they have to mobilize before the election. Well, I decided to hold off try to keep my powder dry, try to, triage and focus on the election, because I did think that, and I still think, as much as people might be frustrated with certain things going on in the Trump administration, we don't have a communist in the White House, and Kamala Harris is arguably a Marxist.
Oh my God, no, James, no. Real communists and real Marxists were doing entire presentations about how they were never going to vote for Kamala Harris because Kamala Harris was a cop. She was like their enemy number one. Kamala Harris yelled at communists that went to her protests. They were specifically talking about supporting capitalism when they had anti-capitalist protesters. So no, James, there is no F-off universe in which Kamala Harris was a communist. But
pretty
okay,
strong
continue.
argument, and Tim Waltz as well. And so I tried to hold back. And then finally, President Trump at the end of September, on apparently the day of the Feast of St. Michael, or Michaelmas, or whatever it's called in the Catholic calendar, tweets a picture of the famous picture, the painting of St. Michael, or Michael the Archangel, slaying the dragon of Satan. And he puts the prayer of St. Michael, which was composed, I think, by Leo the 13th, but certainly had been said at the end of a lot of masses. I think John Paul II had it stop being said at the end of a lot of masses, but it's a prayer to battle, to basically vanquish our enemies. And I saw this as out of character, for one thing, for President Trump to post, although maybe he's courting Catholics, maybe he's having a change of heart after narrowly dodging a bullet. Maybe, he's just picking up religion where he sees it, wherever it happens to be, and running with it, whatever. There's a lot of reasons he could have posted that. But I found it concerning on another front, because one of the dimensions of my research in the past few years is on the esoteric side of the weird beliefs that a lot of the people, like at the United Nations, for example, hold. The United Nations is
Mizakan. We're back to the Gnostic sex cult. The Gnostic sex cult, Oprah, United Nations, New Ager, conspiracy theory, advanced by Lisa Logan. We're back. James is back to talking about the UN, Oprah, New Age, sex cult conspiracy. This is great. This could not be better news.
A theosophical occult belief structure. And part of that, whether it's the SEL in schools coming out of the Fetzer Institute, whether it's Common Core, which came from the World Core curriculum, which derives from the occultist Alice Bailey, which is in the same vector. I studied all this stuff because I found out about it through education, which tied it to the UN, which I then saw reflected in, say, Julian Huxley's writings about the early UN and all of these different things. So it's not like it's way out there.
Just in case people are new and you weren't around for this, James literally blamed Oprah on introducing all of this stuff through society, all of his theosophical Gnosticist stuff. And we have him tweeting saying this. We have it documented. You can go back on my channel and look. I will die if he brings up Oprah. I don't think he's going to, but he was back when he was talking about this. Yeah, Gnosticism is back. We're back, baby. We're back. Can't keep the Gnostics down.
But I knew, for example, it was what ended up, it's an explicitly esoteric occult organization meant to fuse science and spirituality and create an educational program out of it for children.
Back together. Yeah.
That's the mission of that organization.
I'm going to make a t-shirt that says Gnostic Sex Cult. I threatened to do this last time, but if James is getting the band back together on this one, we have to do a Gnostic Sex Cult 2025 tour t-shirt. Absolutely.
But their original emblem was an icon that they had drawn of Michael the Archangel. And they had practiced at their weekly meetings summonings of the Archangel Michael. And so there's this long, weird occult thread to Michael.
Yeah.
And what I saw was Trump. Okay, Trump's the figurehead of MAGA, obviously. He's humongously influential. A lot of Catholics are into it because they're Catholic, and that's fine. But a lot of people are going to get sucked into...
Yes, my cult is very much on the woke right, and so you have to be on the woke right if you're going to be in my cult. Now, listen, I'm a horrible cult leader, and I don't force anyone to stay in my cult, and I don't really tell you guys what to do or how to do it. But I think one rule is that if you're going to be in my cult, you're probably going to be considered on the woke right.
Michael the Archangel is like our warrior on our side. And this whole weird occult vision, which, by the way, also identifies in writing, I can show you the writing in Blavatsky's The Secret Doctrine, for example, it identifies Michael the Archangel as identical with Satan. So they believe that there's this weird esoteric spiritual occultist thing there. And so I put out this tweet, guys, saying, guys, this isn't great. Like, be careful with this. I don't think this is very Trump. So I think somebody put Trump up to this. And here's this occult stuff you might actually want to be aware of. And man, did I get blowback? Okay, so let's just assume that I said something stupid and insensitive on the internet. I don't think I did, but let's just say that I didn't word it well enough for somebody's pieties and sensitivities. Fine. So you get, people saying, dude, that was awkward, or it kind of falls flat, or you get some ugly comments back. That's not what happened. I got a full-scale explosion, the likes of which I'd only seen twice before. Once was not when we released the grievance studies affair. It was when I got let back onto Twitter. The left went after me. The left got me kicked off Twitter in the old days in 2022 for 5 months. Elon bought it. During those 5 months, brought me back. And I was subjected to one of the worst, online struggle sessions I've ever seen, basically for a month, relentless harassment for a month by the left when I got let back on. And the previous time to that was when I announced in late summer of 2020 that I intended to vote for Trump. And I was still had ties in the left intellectual sphere, and they lost their freaking marbles on me. Mm-hmm. And so I've only had attacks on that scale a couple of times. So I see this. I'm starting to get phone calls from people who have invited me to speak. And they're saying, I'm getting calls from people saying you hate Christians and that we totally a cancellation. The blowback on social media is way out of proportion. There's everything you try to do
to add context to this that James is leaving out. And I know this because James Lindsay's stepdaughter told me this explicitly. James got the vast majority of his business from Christian churches. James is not a Christian. Has never strategy was to go sell his ideas and his content to Christian churches. So the vast majority of people who were bringing him to speak at events were indeed Christians. And then James came out against Archangel Michael and made this whole big social media thing. And then he's surprised when Christians don't want to pay him anymore. And I know this is true because James, again, he texted his stepdaughter and she posted the tweets on Twitter. He wanted $500,000 in business because of this. And that's because he was getting most of his money from Christian churches.
Explain makes it worse. And everything just gets twisted further and further in this narrative. So I said, oh my God, they're canceling me over that, which means they were waiting for something to cancel me over because it's too stupid to cancel me over that. So they're trying to take me off the table in advance of this power grab that I believe they're going to have, that I've already been kind of indicating I'm aware of. Crap, they're going to move. So I was like, okay, they're canceling me. Woke right. They're woke. They're doing woke stuff. They are coveting power. They have a plan, and they have to get their enemies off the table. And it wasn't just me, people who might see through it, or call it out, or disagree with it. They were taking out other people in the movement as well, who,
like you guys all did to me years
they could
ago.
End up rallying around, often in very, ugly and inappropriate
so
ways.
Exactly like you and your friends did to me years ago, James. Like you're like exactly the same thing is what you're saying.
And I just thought it's now. Now is the time to fight this before they can start filling the administration, before they can take over the transition teams. I'm sure they have a plan to do it. Their own writings indicate, for example, the writings surrounding the Society for American Civic Renewal, which is their secret society that they use, explicitly say that one of the objectives of the organization is to prepare and place leaders for the future regime that they intend to install. So they have a secret society that's organized with people behind it, intending to get people placed into positions of power. And we know, for example, that the CEO of the Claremont Institute is a member of SACR because he said he is. So it's like they have a think tank directly attached to them with lots of people who are politically active, and their goal is to place themselves with their ideology into positions of power for a coming administration that doesn't exist yet. It's like, oh, better call this out. And then I paid the exact price you would expect for calling out something that's a highly organized movement to take power. They ended my career.
When you say they ended your career, in what way? You're still very visible, may not pay you much to be on Twitter or X, but how did they end your career? What other things have been canceled?
Okay, so I mean, the primary way that I have a fairly diversified way of making money as things work out in the world today, but I mean that in the very prosaic way. I used to make most of my money through speaking fees. I frequently was invited to speak at conservative events. Of course, everybody's right. I'm not saying anybody's violating me or censoring me or any of this crap. It's everybody's right to decide who they want to speak, who they don't want to speak. That can be on true pretenses or false pretenses. It can be that they moved on. It's that they have other things they want to cover. It can be that there's these alleged scandals that they've, ginned up about me, and so they don't want to get into the drama. Whatever it happens to be. It can be that they believe that I hate Christians, but we do know that they were deliberately calling people who had contracted me to come speak. For example, I know this because the organizers themselves told me and said, you need to get away from him. And, your donors are going to want you to get away from him. This is going to be a big problem because he hates Christians. He's a subversive against conservatives. He's actually a crypto secret communist. Turns out, no, I'm not, by the way. And so these messages were happening deliberately.
Are you telling me that they've been calling James a secret communist, just like James has been doing to every single person he accuses of being on the woke right? So let's get this straight. James has been telling everyone that doesn't agree with James that they're secret communists for like literally years. And then all of a sudden, people turned around and assumed James might be a secret communist. Again, James, I just have to say, karma is a real thing, and I think you're demonstrating that quite emphatically.
So I went from speaking on average between 3 on a very light month, 3 times a month, giving public addresses, usually for all of my honoraria were very modest. I'm not a greedy grifter type person. They were very small by these standards, but I still got them. I went from doing anywhere between 3 and 15 speeches a month to doing zero. So that entire sector of my income gone. Obviously, there's a huge subscriber base on my website, which keeps the lights on there. I pay myself a modest salary. We lost more than half of our subscribers through this relentless campaign. That could be their own choices. It could also be part of a relentless campaign. It could also be part of a smear campaign, which there are. I mean, I could definitely do some metal to deal with courts at this point. And then, X still does pay me to tweet some, relatively small amount. And so that's cute. But, it's also contingent, right? There are people who get demonetized for any number of reasons that nobody actually understands, just like on old Twitter. It's all very arcane. And so, the sword of Damocles is hanging.
He lost half his subscribers? That's James?
over you in a sense with that. And since I don't take donations and I don't have, sponsors or patrons or anything like that, looks like I'm pretty much out of options, save going to get a regular job. So what I've done is stubbornly refuse to stop doing what I'm doing. I didn't lose my platform. Yeah. But I did lose about 85% of my income over this. And I've lost my ability to travel and network and interface. I'm also fairly explicitly blacklisted from certain things like the president administration. I'm just not allowed within 500 yards of, not physically, but they're not having anything to do with me. I don't exist. I've actually been told by a couple of people in Congress who wanted to meet with me that if I wanted to meet with them, I have to meet with them in their offices and their home districts, not in the Cannon building, because if it's seen that they're talking to me, it could hurt their ability to work with the administration. So that's a deliberate campaign. There's absolutely no reason that my work is so egregious, or this call out of the Archangel Saint Michael is so upsetting, or this claim that they verified for themselves that there are conservatives who adopt Marxist principles for what they want to
He
achieve in
lost
the
the
world.
MILFs.
There's no way that this is so awful that I have to be completely struck from everything short of a deliberate cancellation campaign.
All right, well, that's really sad, Jimmy. That's really sad. That's really, really sad that what you did to other people came back and bit you in the ass. It's really sad that you built an entire business on appealing to Christians when you in fact were not a Christian. See, James, listen, one of the major differences between you and I is I was always very honest and upfront with the fact that I'm not a Christian and I have feelings about Christianity. Now, personally, do I care if people are Christians? No, you be whatever you want to. I never said, I'm going to help you be the best Christians you can be. I never told you what to believe about the Bible. I flat out said, I'm not a Christian. I'm not going to become a Christian. More power to you, whatever you want to do. But I never built a business on outsourcing my services to organizations that did not represent my belief system. And because of that, I was able to build a community that I really can't be canceled with the way you can, because my community knows who I am. I'm streaming 6 days a week. I'm very blunt with my community about who I am, what I believe. I don't have to actually hold anything back because made up values like you did. And now it came back to bite you in the ass after you lied about me for years, you motherfucker. After you tried to get my work canceled for literally years, after you called me a narcissist to get the Babylon Bee to take away a credit for work that I did that you tried to steal, go fuck yourself, James. Enjoy the ride. You're now going to have to build a community completely independently of the little ecosystem that you thought you had, which, by the way, bro, is exactly the same position. It's not easy. It's not easy at all. Best of luck, bro. We'll see who comes out on top. But you keep screaming about Nazis on the internet. I'm going to teach people about the real far left over here. And speaking of that, guys, we do have to wrap up the stream. I'm sorry we didn't watch much of that cult stream, but the technical difficulties and other stuff going on. It's just been a weird day. So I'm sorry, all right? I'm sorry we didn't watch a lot of that socialist cult stream. But I don't even think that, guys, I think it's for the best. But now we do have to shut down the stream because I've got a spy stream going on. Spy stream is when we go inside a live leftist training and we watch it. We are going to be watching a Democratic Socialists of America meeting tonight. I have already there's nothing wrong on my end. I promise you, this was StreamYard. This is not on my end. There's just nothing. I literally restarted my computer right before this because of the stream tonight. So I don't think it's on my end. But maybe, I don't know. I'm going to test the internet speed. Actually, let's just do a speed test right now. Let's do a speed test. Let's see if this is actually on my end. Share. Run speed test. I don't think this is on my end. I think this is StreamYard. See? You guys always doubt me. It ain't on my end. It's StreamYard. StreamYard is being ghetto. My internet connection is very F-off fast. So, I'm just saying. All right, guys, I do have to shut down the stream. We're going to be getting started with Spy Stream in a bit. You can find your Spy Stream instructions on whatever platform you're a supporter on, whether that be my main Substack, Locals, Patreon, YouTube, Twitter, YouTube subscriptions, or Twitter, YouTube channel membership or Twitter subscriptions. That's what I wanted to say. So come and join us for Spy Stream, and I will put that live in a little bit, and we'll cross our fingers and hope the technology works out. Okay.
How are you feeling?